by rising for the pledge and prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You bow your hearts and heads to prayer. Gracious Father, we come to you now, Lord. We thank you for this opportunity to serve you through this meeting. Lord, we pray you would lead and guide our discussions, Lord. We pray that as we do all the proclamations, Lord, that you would be with each of those groups, Lord, especially those that are wounded in heart, Lord. We pray for those who are serving abroad in the military, that you'll be with them. Be with those families that have lost their loved ones, Lord. Just give them your comfort and grace as well, Lord. And we just commit everything to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, roll call members. Myself, Commissioner Stiles, present, Commissioner Wink, present, Commissioner Blackman, all present. Public comments. I don't think we have anybody to speak to us today.
Motion to approve.
Second. Having a first and a second, any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry.
Okay, first of all, motion to approve the expenditures. $37. We had a number of CYS placements, one to Adelphoi Village for $99,770, one to the Academy for $73,837. We had independent family services for $1,432. So those are our top 10 this month. We also have the CCAP, County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania. For payment of $54. So that's the thought.
Since I have nothing listed under old business, unless someone else has something for me. We'll go to county staff updates, awards and bids. We have, excuse me, Stephanie Clevenson, planning director, director of tax assessment, are going to share some tools for strengthening our tax base. I'll be out.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so back in early 2024, when the new Board of Commissioners had come into office, one of the first things they asked of my department, since we have GIS, which is mapping under my purview, they asked what we could do to have a flyover done for the county. So I worked with our GIS consultants starting probably fall of 2024, and from then on to identify what would be the easiest way to do a flyover for the county or to do some sort of mapping for tax assessment. We looked at multiple options, and in December of 2024, we were given 5 different options from the GIS consultant. We looked at 4 different satellite types, ranging from 50 centimeter resolution down to 30 centimeter resolutions. And the cost to the county would have been, just for the imagery data, would have been between 30,000 to 95,000, depending on the resolution type. We met with the commissioners over that, and we decided, while that's a large cost, the tax director at the time felt that we could recoup a lot of that cost if we move forward with one of those options. We also looked at if we had done an actual flyover of the county using airplanes. That would have cost us $253,000 for a one-time flyover to collect imagery data. We didn't feel like any of those were the best solution, but those were the ones given to us. So since December of 2024, my office went back and forth with ATCS, who does our GIS consulting for the county. We talked to many other counties to see what they were doing. And ultimately, the solution that we landed on is what you see on the screen now. What we are doing is a free data imagery through Pima. This is actually 2022 Pima ortho imagery that we are using, and then we're overlaying it with the 2008 flyover that the county did, which was the last flyover to capture the tax base that is not being collected by the county currently. So we're overlaying those 2 maps, and then we're running an AI tool to identify properties that maybe the tax office could potentially not be captured. So what you see on the screen here is the 2008 would be your orange. The 2022 would be your red lines, and then the blue lines that you see, or teal, we've made an argument about that. Whatever color you see there is the new buildings that are currently not being captured from 2028 to 2022. So I'll allow Nicole to talk a little bit about how this will be beneficial for the tax office, but this will cost the county $3,600. And that's only for our GIS consultant to run the AI tool, which is already part of our budget. So it's not any additional cost onto the county, since we already pay for the consultant currently. But then, Nicole, if you want to.
May I ask one question?
Yeah.
How often do the maps get updated?
So the maps typically are updated every, like 3 to 5 years is the hope when Pima runs them. So this one is 2022. That was the latest data that Pima had, and we hope to get another one in the next couple of years. So instead of paying $250,000 every couple of years to do a flyover, we would be looking at another, $3,600 every year. Yep.
First off, let me just say that I'm not the greatest public speaker, so bear with me. The role of the assessment office in this is to strengthen the tax base. Assessment office responsibility is we're responsible for maintaining and evaluating our evaluation of 36,000 Bedford County parcels. We conduct that and look at those parcels for ad valorem or ad value purposes, and that's for tax purposes. We conduct in-person property field visits and gather accurate data. That data is then put into the computer system, and that value is then used for tax purposes. My office does not tax, actually just the value. Your property assessment remains the same unless one of the following occurs. There's a county-wide reassessment, which our last one was in 2012. Subdivision or legal description changes, improvements added with or without permits, and the repairs. If you're just repairing something on your house, that's an exception to the rule. Demolition or catastrophic loss. If you have a fire, we'll gladly take that building off. We just need to be contacted for that. Discovery of omitted improvements and corrections of errors, and of course appeals, and they happen yearly in October. There's two of those I'd like to address. The primary purpose of reassessment is to reevaluate all properties and distribute the current tax burden equally based on the current 2026 market values. That's not something I want to do. As a new director, I can call for that, but that's not something that is economically and not wise to do at this point. I don't think the county can actually do that or actually want to. Plus, we would also have to have 38 municipalities, 6 school districts, and the county would have to agree to do that. That is costly, it's time consuming, and I don't have the staff to do that. There's a much easier way to increase the tax base, and you're looking at it on the screen right now. With those blue properties that we're seeing, we can actually send a field assessor out to look at those properties, collect the data, bring that back, and we can actually update the tax base and bring in revenue, which will eventually, probably, not going to guarantee it, but we'll get more revenue from that, which will update the tax base, strengthen the tax base, and eventually the millage rate will be adjusted at that point. So, any questions?
So this is your kind of your guide. You know which properties you need to go out and visit, but you don't take it just based on what the mapping's showing you
Absolutely.
and make any changes. You go out and you assess that.
Correct. Yes. What we'll do is actually, I will actually look at this map. I will compare this to the properties that we have, and I will look at every single parcel because we have to do it as a county-wide. I can't just pick one community or one municipality. That would be spot assessing and it's illegal. As a CPE, I will do this uniformly and by the law. I will do it with every single parcel countywide. And I will pick up what is not on the property cards. And the field assessor will go out, look at this, bring that data back to me. That information will be put into the computer system. The owner will get what's called a change of assessment. Monthly, I send those out. And they do have, if they disagree with anything on those parcel cards or anything on those change of assessments, they can file an appeal with, they have 40 days to do that. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your focus to reiterate that
Yes,
this board of commissioners is not considering a reassessment.
no, they are not.
Because there is a rumor in the community that we're looking at a reassessment, and we are not at all.
Absolutely not. This is not a
I
reassessment.
want to clarify that.
This is not a reassessment. It is just an easier way to correct. I don't really want to say correct, but update and strengthen the tax base. This is not a reassessment. No, thank you. I do not want to do that. Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And thank you. Nicole is relatively new in this position and she's bringing a lot of energy to it, new eyes on things, trying to strengthen the office. So we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rather than going back over this point, Jeff Hackenberg and Penn State Ag Extension are going to talk to us about ServSafe plastic at Federal County Correctional Facility.
Good morning. Thank you for having us here this morning. My name is Jeff Hackenberg and I'm a client relationship manager with Penn State Extension. I have with me today Beth Kosas. Beth is a Penn State Extension educator with our Food, Families, and Communities unit. And I wanted to bring Beth by because she's doing some work in Bedford County. She's based out of our Allegheny County office. And so it's a great example of, with Penn State Extension, you have access not only to the educators and the resources that we have based in Bedford County, but you do have access to our resources throughout the state. And it's been almost about a year and a half ago when we kind of started the process. Commissioner Williams and Warden Eichenlaub reached out and asked if Penn State Extension had any type of programs that could offer job training, job skills to the prisoners. And so we thought ServSafe was a good starting point. And we've had great support too with all the commissioners here being behind the program. And I wanted to bring Beth by to talk to you a little bit about what she's done with the program and maybe some future plans.
Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry that I have my bad parents. It's very rude. My name is Beth Kosas. I'm an extension educator based out of Allegheny County, but I kind of travel throughout the area, especially to do food safety. So I'm on the Food Families and Community Unit. One aspect of the FFC unit is food safety. So I conduct ServSafe classes. I've been in Bedford to conduct ServSafe classes, Somerset County. I was in Cambridge yesterday to do ServSafe classes, but it is my privilege and pleasure to be at the Bedford County Correctional Facility to do ServSafe classes. Is anyone familiar with the ServSafe test? Is anyone certified for ServSafe? The ServSafe test is very hard, right? It is not an easy test. It's a great workforce development certification because it stays with you for 5 years. So it is a certification that follows you. So it enables you to work really in any kind of food establishment. So I call it paper gold. So it is a very good certification to have. So I have been at the Bedford County Correctional Facility now 3 times to do 3 ServSafe classes. I started in January. So I did a class in January with some of the male participants, and I have done a ServSafe class in February and March with some female participants. And I will be back in May to do another ServSafe class. So I'm hoping to be there every other month. It's a great program. I come 3 times to do the class, and then on that 3rd day, my participants are able to test. A few success stories. There was a gentleman who passed the ServSafe test who is now living in Lancaster County and is working at a food service organization. There was another woman who passed the test whose daughter wants to open a food truck. And so very exciting. And mom was, she's going to help her. And so she is already coming out with her ServSafe certification. So she is kind of one step in a very long process of, getting a food truck. So it's been a very successful endeavor. It's my pleasure to be there. The only thing I don't like is driving at 6 a.m. because the class starts at 8 a.m. Because I work with kind of the prison schedule. But it's truly a pleasure to be there. I hope to continue collaborating with the correctional facility for many, many months to come. What else can I tell you? Oh, and I will say that participants really enjoy it. They're really excited. They study on their own with some of the other participants in class. And there was also a woman who, when she finished a class, she said, which I thought was very striking. She said, "Thank you so much for being here. It's nice to use my brain in here," which I'm sure is really nice to use your brain in there because I'm sure there's a lot of downtime and they don't get to do that. So that was really kind of meaningful to me as well. So does anyone have any questions for me? And I apologize.
I do.
Yeah.
How many correctional facilities you go into and do this class?
This is the first one, and I hope to go into many more. Thank you so much for asking that. There have, I kind of work in Allegheny County, Westmoreland County, Indiana County, and I know that we are reaching out to the Indiana County Correctional Facility because there has been some interest in my coming there for ServSafe. I do work at if anyone's familiar with the Fayette County Correctional Facility has a program called the Ignite program. So it's a workforce development where community partners from the area come in and teach a class. They have welding, they have ServSafe there. They have, financial literacy. I had the pleasure of going in there to teach a nutrition class as well as a financial literacy class that's geared toward folks in recovery. So that has been a really meaningful, meaningful class for me as well. But this is the first, and hopefully I'll have more classes in the correctional facilities because I really think it's a great workforce development class for folks who are re-entering. Yes.
And thank you for the opportunity. Extension is always looking for more opportunities, more audiences where we can share our resources, share our educational material. So any ideas pop up, please let us know.
I think piggyback what you said, Jeff, since the extension was Ag Progress Days. If you've never been to Ag Progress Days, I would encourage you to go. I was actually amazed at the amount of programs the Penn State Extension offers and participates in, and just even like your Master Gardeners, which is pretty familiar in this area, and others that may not be. And so I would encourage anyone that's not been to Penn State Ag, there's the Ag Progress Days, to go to that, because it was a really worthwhile experience for me to attend. And we're excited what you're doing at the correctional facility. As Attorney General Sunday said, giving a person a job is one of the best ways to help them recover, on that right track. And so this is exciting to see that happening, and that when they leave, they'll have some gainful employment, and it's really good for their sense of self-esteem and whatnot. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is ATCX, about bridge updates. Aaron Franklin, take care of that for us.
Good morning, everyone, and likewise, apologies for the back of my head. So the commissioners asked us to just provide a brief update on the county bridges. So the county, Bedford County owns 37 bridges that are on the public highway network, mostly local roads. Most of the bridges that the county owns carry township roads. We do have at least one that carries a state road, which is sort of an interesting situation. The bridges are the responsibility of the county to maintain, and funding for maintenance comes in various forms. The primary funding source for maintenance of the bridges is through the liquid fuels program. There are also some other legislative acts which provide funding, including Act 13, which is the Marcellus Shale legislation, which provides funding to the county on an annual basis for upkeep of roads and bridges. That being said, what you see on the screen in front of you is the state of one of the county's bridges. It's currently in poor condition. This bridge is in Cumberland Valley Township, right adjacent to the Maryland border. It is in poor condition. It's currently restricted to a single lane, and it is in dire need of repair. We have been assessing the situation and working with the commissioners to make a plan to move forward. So all of the county bridges, all of the locally owned municipal bridges, all state bridges across Pennsylvania are inspected at least once every 2 years, as mandated by the Federal Highway Administration. Bridges that are posted for a weight limit or are in poor condition or have some other area of concern may be inspected on a more frequent basis. A bridge in this condition this bridge is currently being inspected every 6 months just to maintain, to ensure the safety of the public is maintained. So the most recent inspection was, I believe, in February or March. So we have the report from that inspection will be coming soon. The inspections are carried out by a consulting engineering firm under the administration and guidance of PennDOT. So all of that is handled by a professional engineering team that's reviewed by PennDOT, and the county is kept informed and it's in the loop as the inspections are carried out. So this is a challenging project. One of the other primary funding streams for bridge work, major rehabilitations and replacements, comes directly through PennDOT, the transportation planning funds. That process is updated every 2 years, and currently, because of budget issues across the board, both at the federal level and the state level, current process, we're seeing approximately one bridge in every county that's being programmed through the state for replacement. One locally owned bridge every 2 years. So in addition to all the county bridges, all of the locally owned municipal bridges are also in that pool. So currently, PennDOT is able to fund approximately one local bridge replacement every 2 years. The bridge that we just looked at, bridge number 33, is currently third or fourth on the list within Bedford County, which means that there's 3 other township or borough-owned bridges that are in worse shape. So we're on a waiting list. So with that in mind, we have been exploring other funding sources, including some various grant funds, county funds in the liquid fuels, Act 13 pools, and then other potential funds, including the $5 registration fee, which is a fund that the state has allows counties to enact, which is collected on a county level, and then that funding has to be used for improvement of roads and bridges, and that can be used on either county or municipally owned bridges. So that is a potential funding source. In addition to Bridge 33, we have 3 other bridges that are in poor or fair condition and will be needing attention in the very near future. Bridge number 13 in East St. Clair Township, bridge number 41 in Londonderry Township, just outside of Heineman, and bridge 2, which is in Woodbury Township, just below the dam. So all of these projects are in the planning stage for hopefully rehabilitation or replacement in the near, not too distant future. Any questions?
The county is looking for more bridges to own.
That's true.
We weren't looking for all the bridges that we already own. But, we inherited them basically, right? Because local boroughs and townships couldn't afford their upkeep, and then they reverted to the county. So we're not trying to buy new bridges or get new bridges. We want everybody to understand that, but we are responsible for the ones that we have, and they're in many cases rough shape. We're not the only county. Every county is struggling with these same things. And yet, for example, the Bridge 33, the first slide he was showing you near the Maryland border, you know, you might ask, well, can't we just shut that bridge down? Isn't there another way around? There is no simple answer there. Maybe, Aaron, you could talk a little bit about what some of the problems are in dealing with the bridge and the need to repair it.
Sure. Yeah.
Or replace it at this point.
Yep. Nobody notices bridges until they're closed and you can't use them. Right. So this bridge serves 2 school districts, one in Bedford County and one in Maryland. So there are school buses that cross this bridge every day. In addition to that, one of the main water sources for the city of Cumberland actually sits in Bedford County. And their water treatment facility is also on this road, and this is the primary access for their treatment facility. Unfortunately, there's not a good detour, so we do have to figure that into the planning. We can't just close the bridge and walk away. We can't just close the bridge to replace it because there's a neighborhood on the other side and the water treatment facility. So these are all things that we have to consider in planning process. There is a detour. However, it's not really a feasible detour for school buses or trucks of the size that would need to access the maintenance facility. So there are a lot of challenges when we go to the planning stage. So you can move to the next slide. We'll have similar challenges with both Bridge 41 and Bridge 2 because neither of those have accessible detour routes either. Bridge 41 is the only way across Wills Creek to save or to serve the homes and the facilities on that side. And likewise, Bridge in Woodbury Township is the only access route to the neighborhood that sits on the other side of the stream. So these are the things that we have to consider. Yes, we would love to just close problem bridges and walk away, but it's not always feasible. In fact, usually it's not a feasible option.
Even emergency vehicles, fire, ambulance.
Yeah.
There's homes. There's no access to without these bridges.
Yeah, and sometimes even when there is access, the access is not advantageous. If it adds 10 or 20 minutes to an emergency response, that can be the difference of, a catastrophe or not. So those are things that we really have to consider.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Bridge 33 was listed as part of a three bridge bundle that we were looking at for replacements down the road, but it progressed so rapidly and the damage, not damage, the deterioration to the beach that has been moved up is now apparently.
Right, correct.
And each bridge is millions.
Yeah.
To take care of.
So just from a programming level, I believe the estimate to replace, if we were to take care of all four of the bridges that you've seen this morning, from a very preliminary estimate is approximately $12 million, just for perspective. That's not a sum of money that the county has just sitting in a fund somewhere. And it's also not an amount of money that PennDOT has just sitting in a fund that they can just dole out. As I mentioned before, these are, there's competition for this funding. And so we're looking at not just these bridges, but all the other bridges across the county compete for that same funding.
Thank you. As a result of our bridge failures and what's happening down the road, we are anticipating and you're considering, we're looking at that $5 fee for license. So that's an option, and we're going to further discuss that over the next month. Any other comments? Okay, we'll move on to new business. We have a motion to act on the change of assessment. Changing the change of assessment notice control for the month of March 2026 based on the recommendation of Nicole Abbott, Director of Tax Assessment. So moved.
I'll second.
Having a first and second, I would like to state that we did see the map earlier about tax assessment and how we would be going out and looking at tax properties, but for March 1st through April 1st, the office has been able to increase the tax basis by 1.6 million with the work they're doing down there without having that. So we're making strides towards increasing our tax base. Having a first and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion will carry. A motion to appoint Doug Walters to the Board of Directors of the Somerset Bedford County's Behavioral Health Services for a 2-year term beginning May 1st, 2026, based on the recommendation of Sandra Bolko, Health Choices Administrator and Board Chair.
Second.
Having a first and a second, any additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. A motion to reappoint Lynn Plesnick to the to the Board of Directors of the Somerset and Bedford County Behavioral Health Services for a 3rd term as Community Director. This is based upon the recommendation of Senator Benko, Health Choices Administrator and Board Chair.
So moved.
Second. Hearing a first and a second, do you have any additional comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Next, we have a motion to reappoint Dave Borowski to the Board of Directors of Somerset Bedford County's Behavioral Health Services for a second term as Community Director based upon the recommendation of Sandra Benko, Health Choice Administrator and Board Chair.
So moved.
Second?
Hearing a first and a second, any additional comments? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carried. Next, we have a motion to act on the approval of the administrative agreement with Broad Top Township for the CDBG FFY 2024 Broad Top Township Senior Apartments Project. This is based upon recommendation of Jeffrey Fellows, CDBG Administrator for Bedford County Planning.
So moved.
Second.
Having a first and a second, any additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion will carry. Next, we have a motion to act on the approval of the proclamation for Prisoner 7 during the year based on the recommendation of the Bedford County Commissioners. I don't think anybody here to read this proclamation for us today. There's not, so in the essence of time and all that we've done and all that we have to do, we're going to go ahead and just approve it as listed.
I'll second.
Having a first and a second, all those in favor? Motion will carry. Next, we have a motion to approve the proclamation of Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month based upon the recommendation of Bedford County Commissioners. Erica Dominic, PA 811 Damage Prevention Liaison. I believe here to read this.
Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month,
Can I ask you a favor?
Oh, sure.
You could, you sit down and visit. That's our podium. Thank you.
Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month recognized April 2026, whereas the month of April 2026 recognizes Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month and the initiative sponsored by Pennsylvania 811, a utility notification information center with 54 years of continuous service to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And whereas Pennsylvania 811 received more than 1 million excavation notices in 2025, over 30,000 construction projects in Coordinate PA, and transmitted approximately 6 million notifications to their member facility owners and operators, allowing essential utility and construction crews to provide vital underground services and repair of critical infrastructure to communities through Pennsylvania. And whereas contacting 811 at least 3 business days before digging, a homeowner or contractor is connected to a unique services that notify the appropriate underground utility operators in the municipality in which the work will be performed. And whereas by notifying 811 of their intent to dig, the homeowner or contractor is knowingly helping to protect the underground utilities themselves, the work crew, and their neighbors from any unsafe digging practices within their community. And whereas upon receiving the notification from Pennsylvania 811, the facility owners and operators disperse to the said work site to mark the approximate location of their underground utility lines with flags, paint, or both, and to establish an 18-inch tolerance zone on the outside wall or edge of the line or facility. And now therefore be it resolved that Bedford County, in support of the Pennsylvania Underground Utility Line Protection Law, PA Act 287 of 1974, as amended, we do proclaim April 2026 as Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month and encourage all Pennsylvanians to visit Pennsylvania 811 website at pa1call.org for information about safe digging safely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very important proclamation. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Oh, no, we don't.
Made a motion. I'll make
Okay,
that
I don't have a
motion.
motion.
So moved.
Second? Oh, so. Okay, having a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Next, we have a motion to act on the approval for the proclamation of Sexual Assault Awareness Month based on the recommendation of Susan Hawthorne, Director of Your Safe Haven. And I believe Jennifer Judd's here to read it for us today. Thank you.
I am. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to propose a correction. This is not upon the recommendation of Susan Hawthorne. This is upon the recommendation of the Board of Directors of Your Safe Haven. All right. Whereas Your Safe Haven Incorporated, established in 1996 as Bedford County's first comprehensive crime victim center, has served the community for nearly 3 decades. And whereas all individuals have the right to live free from emotional, physical, and sexual violence, and violence in any form is unacceptable. Whereas sexual violence remains a pervasive public health issue, with 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 13 boys experiencing sexual abuse during childhood. And whereas individuals aged 12 to 34 are at the highest risk of experiencing sexual violence, highlighting the critical need for prevention, education, and early intervention. And whereas violence affects an estimated 433,648 victims of rape and sexual assault each year in the United States, which causes lasting trauma to families and children, contributing to fear, loss of security, and long-term harm within communities. And whereas Your Safe Haven Incorporated has provided critical, free, and confidential services to 275 clients during the 2024 to 2025 fiscal year. They offer support, advocacy, and resources to victims and their families. And whereas communities have a responsibility to support victims and foster a culture of respect and accountability. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Commissioners of Bedford County reaffirm their commitment to a future free from sexual violence, where all individuals are safe and survivors have access to justice and healing. And now, therefore, we, the Commissioners of Bedford County, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in Bedford County, Pennsylvania, and urge all citizens to support survivors and help prevent sexual violence. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion? So moved.
I'll second.
Having a first and second, any additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you very much. Next, we have a motion to approve the proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunications Week based upon the recommendation of Rick McClellan, Director of Emergency Services. I believe Rick is going to read this one for us this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. This is April 12th through April 18th, 2026. Whereas Bedford County has experienced emergencies that require responses from law enforcement, fire, and emergency medical services. And whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of law enforcement officers, firefighters, paramedics, and emergency medical technicians is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our first responders is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Bedford County 911 Center. And whereas Bedford County Public Safety Telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have within emergency services. And whereas Bedford County Public Safety Telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers, firefighters, and emergency medical personnel by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information and ensuring their safety. And whereas the public safety telecommunicators of Bedford County have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each telecommunicator has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during performance of their job in the past year. Now, therefore, we, the Commissioners of Bedford County, do hereby proclaim the week of April 12th through April 18th, 2026 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our county and citizens safe. Given under our hand and seal of the County of Bedford on this 14th of April, 2026.
It's a very important job they do. It's a long out portion.
Yes.
Motion,
I'll make that motion.
Second.
having a first and second, any additional comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you.
Brittany, before you leave here, I know that the community has been wanting to show appreciation to the telecommunicators. Can you maybe fill us in? What are some of the things that others are doing to
Yeah,
show
so
that?
as part of this week, I reached out to local businesses, local first responders to see if they could provide meals for the dispatchers as a token of appreciation. I have ambulance companies bringing meals for them. I have local businesses in the Bedford area bringing meals for them. I'm preparing some meals for them, just as a way to say thank you and give back. We've had, yesterday we had MedStar out of Conemaugh drop by some things for the dispatchers, and we actually had a former dispatcher also stop in to visit and provide some things for them as well.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have a motion to act on the approval of the proclamation for Alcohol Awareness Month based on the recommendation of the Bedford County Commissioners. Pete Lothers going to read that for us this morning.
Whereas alcohol is the most commonly used addictive substance in Bedford County, and whereas 1 in every 10 adults in the United States suffers from alcohol abuse or dependence, and whereas more than 178,000 persons die each year from alcohol-related causes, driving crashes, other accidents, falls, fires, alcohol-related homicides, and suicides. And whereas more than 12 million children live in a household where at least one parent is dependent on or has abused alcohol, and whereas young people who begin drinking before age 15 are 4 times more likely to develop alcohol dependence than those who begin drinking at 21, and whereas alcohol-related problems cost America $249 billion, approximately $807 per person, in lost productivity, absenteeism, health care costs, crime and family-related problems. And whereas alcohol-related commercials make up 1.5% of all advertisements on primetime television and 7% of all advertisements in sports programming. Now therefore be resolved that Personal Solutions, Inc., along with the Bedford County Commissioners, hereby proclaim April 2026 as Alcohol Awareness Month in Bedford County, Pennsylvania, and encourages its citizens to support efforts that reduce stigma, increase community awareness, and increase support for individuals and families coping with alcoholism, not only during Alcohol Awareness Month, but all year long, making a visible statement that we are strongly committed to a drug-free Bedford County.
Motion,
I'll second.
having a first and second, any additional comments? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Next, we have a motion to act on the approval of the proclamation for National Library Week, April 6th through 12th, 2026. Should be 26, not 25, based on the recommendation of Bedford County Commissioners. So I'm going to read this for us. Thank you, Matt.
Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can explore innovative ideas and be drawn to new possibilities. And whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and lifelong learning. And whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. And whereas libraries partner with schools, businesses, and organizations, connecting the dots to maximize resources, increasing efficiency, and expand access to essential services, strengthening the entire community. And whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, and lifelong learners by providing access to resources, training, and opportunities that support career growth and economic success. And whereas libraries nurture young minds through story times, STEAM programs, and literacy initiatives, fostering curiosity and a love of learning that lasts a lifetime. And whereas libraries protect the right to read, think, and explore without censorship, standing as champions of intellectual freedom and free expression. And whereas dedicated librarians and library workers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, and creativity for all. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joined together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme Find Your Joy. And now, therefore, let it be resolved that we, the Bedford County Commissioners, proclaim April 19th through 2026 as National Library Week. During this week, we encourage all residents to visit their library, explore its resources, and celebrate all the ways that the library helps our community find joy.
Thank you. I'll take the motion this morning. Second, having a first and a second, any additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion will carry. Next, we have a motion to act on approving Governor Shapiro's proclamation acknowledging the month of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month, based upon the recommendation of Christopher Bresco, Administrator of Child and Children Resources. Chris will read this morning.
Thank you. Bedford County Board of Commissioners Child Abuse Prevention Month, April 2026. Whereas every child deserves the freedom to chart their own course and the opportunity to succeed, free from abuse and violence, and to grow up in a household filled with love, protection, and a safe and stable, nurturing environment. And whereas, to ensure that freedom and opportunity, Bedford County remains committed to protecting our children and the breaking cycles of abuse that can profoundly shape the future of our youth. And whereas in Bedford County, 24 children were abused in 2025, which can leave physical and psychological scars on the child that extend well beyond childhood and lead to permanent disabilities, psychological distress, substance use, mental health issues, crime, domestic violence, and the continuation of child abuse within family lineages. And whereas child abuse is a serious public health issue that crosses all racial, economic, and social boundaries in our county, requiring a comprehensive community response to build a better future. And whereas child abuse prevention is a shared responsibility with numerous social service agencies, provider organizations, county agencies, medical professionals, educators, faith-based organizations, and community members taking active roles in ensuring children are protected. And whereas we have the responsibility to safeguard our children and prevent child abuse and neglect, which is why Bedford County is dedicated to fostering the developmental well-being of every child through trauma-informed and prevention-focused programs to create safe and healthy environments where every child can thrive and flourish. Now, therefore, we, the Commissioners of Bedford County, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving quality of life for all children and families. We commend the dedicated professionals, social workers, and advocates for their tireless efforts in ensuring that every Pennsylvania child has a safe and healthy childhood. Thank you.
Chris, would you like to tell us about flags you have over in your yard?
Yeah, we had 24 substantiated cases of child abuse in the county. Those planted represent those 24 cases of abuse that occurred in Bedford County. So the key to prevention is just the public awareness. If you see something, say something. If you suspect abuse, report it. I think we can all, we can lessen those numbers each year if everybody just does their part as role of a member of the community and reporting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take a motion, please.
Second?
Having a first and second, any additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. A motion to act on the approval of proclamation for young at heart based upon the recommendation of the Bedford County Board of Commissioners. Bobby's not here, Hal is.
My name is Bobby Hauser. I am the vice president. That's okay. I'm the vice president of Young at Heart and
I'm the public relations for Young at Heart.
So we are here to speak about the Young at Heart Weeks. Whereas Bedford County Young at Heart Games will be celebrating their 21st year of competition on May 4th through May 22nd. The opening ceremony of the games will be held on Monday, May 4th at the Allen Bank Fire Hall, and closing will be held on Wednesday, June 3rd at the Allen Bank Fire Hall as well. Whereas the games past 21 years have been very successful as the games and the participants grow tremendously, this year we look forward to fun and fellowship among the participants with the rubber duck theme. And whereas Bedford County's Young at Heart citizens have made extraordinary contributions to their communities and continue to share their remarkable energy and motivation in such a positive way to improve the quality of life for citizens of all ages.
And whereas the Young at Heart Games celebrate the ongoing celebration of successful aging and helps demonstrate the positive rewards of wellness and being active. And whereas the Young at Heart Games will be held in Bedford County the weeks of May 4th through May 22nd with the award banquet scheduled for Wednesday, June 3rd at 10 a.m. at the Allen Bank Fire Hall. Now, therefore, we, the Commissioners of Bedford County, do hereby proclaim the weeks of May 4th through May 22nd as Young at Heart Weeks, as we encourage all Bedford County citizens to pay tribute to their elders who continue to contribute their vitality, energy, and special spirit of life. Furthermore, if you are fortunate to be of the right age, join in the festivities. After all, you are never too old to play.
Take a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Second. Having first and second, any additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry.
Thank you.
And I know from seeing what's happened in the past, you have a lot of participants in that.
We do.
We do, very much so.
Next, we have a motion to approve the proclamation for the Fair Housing Act on beginning in April, based on the recommendation of Bedford County Commissioners. I believe Cheryl McEnroe is going to give you this one.
Good morning. I'm Cheryl McEnroy, Coldwell Banker Premier, and I thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Before I read the Fair Housing Proclamation, I just want to take a moment to recognize why it matters. Fair housing isn't just a policy or a requirement. It's about every individual has equal access to safe, stable housing without discrimination. As someone who works closely with individuals and families navigating now, whereas the Fair Housing Act enacted on April 11th, 1968, enshrined in federal law the goal of eliminating racial segregation and ending housing discrimination in the United States. And whereas the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing based on race, color, religion, sex, familial status, national origin, and disability, and commits recipients of federal funding to affirmatively further fair housing in their communities. And whereas Bedford County is committed to the mission and intent of Congress to provide fair and equal housing opportunities for all. And whereas our social fabric, the economy, health, and environment are strengthened in diverse, inclusive communities. And whereas more than 50 years after the passage of the Fair Housing Act, discrimination persists and many communities remain segregated. And whereas acts of housing discrimination and barriers to equal housing opportunity are repugnant to a common sense of decency and fairness. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Commissioners of Bedford County do hereby declare the month of April 2026 as Fair Housing Month in Bedford County as an inclusive community committed to fair housing and to promoting appropriate activities by private and public entities to provide and advocate for equal housing opportunities for all residents and prospective residents of Bedford County.
Thank you. Do I have a motion? So moved.
I'll second.
Having a first and second, any comments? None, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. It's now 11 o'clock. I don't know if any of you people would like to take pictures or if you need to leave, if not, we'll continue on and your pictures after. Okay, they're going to take a brief recess and take their picture and then have back.
All right, sounds good.
Now we'll reconvene our meeting. Move on to a motion to act on the approval, the following personal actions received by department heads for 2026 as listed.
I'll second.
Having a first and a second, any additional discussions? All those, I'm sorry, it's not just new hires, it's transfers and separation. Any additional comments after that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Next, we have a motion to act on the approval of Ashley Peterson, first deputy for the Register Recorder's Office, effective 4/20/26, based upon the recommendation of department heads for April 2026.
So moved.
I'll second.
Having a first and a second, any additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No. I would like to make a comment on my no vote. I've never voted no on a new hire. And while this is an elected office, I have to vote no in good conscience based on the background check that was returned. So that's my no vote.
Like to offer any comments?
I think the, background check, it's up to the office, over the row office, they have 1620 rights. And, to hire, fire and supervise. So I think that the officer has the right to, hire who they deem fit and, would like to remind the board, there was a hiring freeze last year. Mary, Moses Claire left in 10/20, and he was the most experienced first deputy in the office. Lisa Wakefield, the other first deputy, left in 1/23. But during the hiring freeze, it was incredibly hard, for us to hire anyone because, the hiring freeze put the office in a bind. Eventually there were applications that started coming in, but of the 6 applications that came in, those people turned down the job because the wage was too low. And, I will say that it's extremely hard for the rural offices to function. And with those first deputy positions, when the wages, those particular positions are so low, I think that, provide a vital service to the community. And, the rural office has the first deputies, those first deputies, really fill the position of the rural officer when they're not there. And, so it's important that those positions get filled and, based on, Alyssa's recommendation for that, I really feel like I have the right to overrule that decision. So that's why I'm voting in favor.
And I would like to simply make the comment that after my conversation with the solicitor, both ours and Alyssa's, the registered reporter, I decided to vote yes for this position. We have a motion to vote this. We did vote.
We did vote.
We did vote. Okay, our next meeting will be Tuesday, May 12th, in this very room. I'll start with everybody. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Having a broken second. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to our salary board. Roll call members, myself, Commissioner Ray, Commissioner Bachman, and Melissa Clark. Melissa, you want to come up with this? First, we have approval of minutes for March 10th, 2026. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Having a first and a second, any additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have nothing listed under old business, and under new business, we have a motion to act on the approval of wages, whereas by union contracts for the following personnel based upon the recommendation of their respective department heads for April as listed. I'll take a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Having first and second, any additional comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Next, we have a motion to act on the approval of wages or by as union contracts for the following personnel based upon the recommendation of their respective department heads. Rhonda Clevenger, a temporary part-time administration assistant for human resources, $15 per hour, 4/13/26.
So moved.
Second.
Excuse me. Having a first and a second, any additional comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
That motion will carry.
I'll just make a comment that I'm voting no, as it wasn't a budget approved position.
Okay, next we have a motion acting on the approval of Ashley Peterson, first deputy register recorder's office at $15.45 per hour effective 4/20/26 based on the recommendation of the department head.
So moved.
My second.
Having a first and second, any additional comments? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
That motion will carry. Our next meeting will also be May 12th, 2026. Now I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here.